So,
hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. This is our fourth edition of District 15 Facebook live chat. And I'm really excited to have everyone here today. We have a very unique show this morning, or this afternoon I should say, focused on one of our 4 junior high schools here in District 15, which is Winston Campus Junior High School. We have a lot of innovative work happening in all of our buildings, but today we are going to focus on 2 areas of innovation at Winston Campus: the Studio Club and the STEM Club and Robotics team. So I'm Morgan Delac. I'm the Chief Communication Officer here in District 15, and I'm just thrilled to have you all with us. Just a reminder about how today will work. We will be interviewing and talking to these 2 groups live on Facebook, and you will have the opportunity to put some questions in the comment section below on our Facebook feed. We will get to those questions at the end of the broadcast. So just type in your questions at any time. And when we are finished introducing our guests and talking about what they do in the school, we will answer those questions. So I'll remind you of the format again in a little while. But first, what I'd like to do is introduce our Studio Club, and specifically Dr. Jason Klein, who is the principal at Winston Campus Junior High School. So hi, Dr. Klein and students. Thank you for joining us this morning.
hello.
Hi.
Hi, Ms. Delac. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
We're glad to be here.
Dr. Klein, why don't you just start out by telling us a little bit about what Studio Club is and why you chose to highlight this program?
Well, one of our big areas of focus as a building is on taking risks to innovate. We know that the world our students are moving into as they move through adolescence and into adulthood is continuing to change at such a rapid pace. Don't you wonder about what kinds of jobs these guys will have 10 years from now when they emerge on the other side of college and university life, or whatever their post-secondary education looks like? I mean, certainly that will be a world where we have self-driving cars going up and down Palatine Road in front of the school. It's like almost here. And so we need to be innovating. One of the really cool things about Studio Club is it's innovative and not new at Winston Campus. Every day there are daily live video announcements. And so lots of schools across our district and throughout our area do really, really cool things with video announcements. But the fact they're live is a whole nother piece. And they add so much to our school culture here, because it's not just the students in Studio Club who are engaged in those announcements. It's so many of our other clubs and activities. As students come on and do their announcements, teachers come on and do their announcements. I mean, one of the most famous people here is one of our 7th grade teachers, because she's got a thing she does, and we all know it, right? She branded herself. Wow. So there it is. That's Ms. Carlin I'm referring to. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Ms. Delac, so you can interview our students, and Mr. Reed, who is the brains and the work behind our Studio Club, as are our students.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. Mr. Reed, I'm going to start with you. So we're going to hopefully get you in the center of the camera here. It's a little bit you're a little bit off focus right now, but why don't you talk about how you got involved to do Studio Club and what it takes to run something like this?
So Studio Club started many, many years ago. I was a science teacher back in the day. I'm kind of old now. Back in the day, I taught science and used to watch the morning announcements, and Mr. Maggio, who has since retired, used to run the morning announcements and did a great job. So over the years, I developed a liking for technology and for the different things that were going on in the library, got a master's degree in technology and library science combined, and then wanted to jump right into this job. I love this whole production world, and this live feed is stressful at times, but so powerful and so engaging, and it teaches so much for all these kids that have to come on here. When you're recording it and you mess up, it's kind of easy to fix it, right? Mm-hmm. But when you mess up live, it gets a little dicey. So that's the way it started long ago with Mr. Maggio, and he did a great job. And then the students here are great. We have leaders, a leadership team. Why don't you guys introduce yourself? These 3 won the rock, paper, scissors to be able to be on here. There's 7 of our leaders. They were fortunate enough to win the rock, paper, scissors, so they got to be on air today with us. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Ivy. I'm Celia. And I'm Gabrielle.
So these are 3 of the 7 leaders that we have. And every year we have an application process with 7th graders. And then we pick 8th graders to be part of the process in the 8th grade year. And then these guys do a great job teaching all of our different groups how to run the show here, because it takes a lot of different people. We'll talk a little bit about the jobs later, but it takes a lot of different people to run a live show.
It definitely does. And, you know, we're doing a live show right now, so I totally understand what goes into all this. And I think it's interesting when you do it so well, your audience doesn't necessarily understand all that goes in behind the scenes. So I'm sure the students are really learning valuable lessons about maybe even going into television production later in life as a career. So I have some questions for the students. If you guys wouldn't mind telling me the jobs that you do within Studio Club, I think our audience would really love to know how you are all involved.
Well, there's a bunch of different ones. The main ones are the anchors. They're the ones who say the main announcements.
And I'm going to jump around and try to swerve the camera around so we can see some different areas here.
Great.
So Ivy's going to explain.
So this is where the anchors sit. There's 2 every day, and they're the ones who say the main announcements. And then the table over here is where we have guest anchors, which are teachers or different clubs that submit forms in to be on the announcements. And then the teleprompter is here, which is also the computer where they read off where the announcements are. And there's someone every morning who types in the announcements. And there's also 2 cameras for the guest and the main and the mics. And then this way in the editing room.
So we're going to try to get Ivy in here in the edit room and the director's room in here. Can you see that?
That is very true to life. You know, in a former career, I did live TV production, and this looks quite similar to what a live TV studio would look like at a CBS News or NBC News. So this is very authentic learning for these kids.
This right here is the soundboard, which controls the sound. And here's the director. They control, like, they start the show, they end it, they determine which camera's on at which times. And this is the computer graphics. They're the ones who have the pictures and the backgrounds and videos every single day.
Very good.
That's very cool. So let's go back to some of the other students if they are still available to talk with us.
Yes, they're going to jump in the camera right now.
This is a cool
more explaining here.
Tour of the
Gabby and we got Celia.
Thank you, guys. So, Gabby, tell me a little bit about how you guys get the announcements that appear every day. How do those come in?
First, Mr. Reed has an announcement sheet that he sends out to teachers for teachers to put their announcements in.
That's a Google form that we use so that the teachers can then submit them at any time at home, or when they're at school, they can just submit the Google form.
And then I come into school about 20 minutes early and go into that Google form and copy and paste it into the slideshow that the anchors read off of. So that's where the teleprompter sits, is where they switch from slide to slide of the announcements that I put in.
Okay. So, Celia, are you one of the people that goes on air as an anchor? Is that one of your jobs?
Yeah, sometimes I am.
So tell me about that. I know it can be a really nerve-wracking experience to be live like we are right now. Tell me how you overcome that nervousness feeling.
Yeah, so it's really nerve-wracking to think that the whole school is watching you, and that if you mess up, everybody will see you and everybody will know that you messed up. And so you just kind of have to focus on reading the slide and focus on the words that you're saying, and like ignore the lights and everything that's on you, and it kind of it helps you forget that you're being watched. It's kind of just
and a lot of times we teach the kids to jump in, kind of like what I'm doing right now. Just sort of jump in and help your partner when you're live, because then you can get your head readjusted and refocus on the slide and sort of just play off of each other, kind of like what we're doing right now. And then they feel a little bit more comfortable. We're trying to get them to do that. And it's tough, though. Some of these kids, it's the first time they've ever been on air anywhere, anytime. So they get nervous. So we try to train them and then go with the flow with that. Yeah. Kind of like what we're doing.
So I think a lot of people are probably wondering, when they see the announcements, how do those pictures and everything, how do those actually show up on the screen? Because it's not magic, and I know that. So tell me the technical ways that you guys go about putting it all together.
Well, we obviously have a green screen, and the computer graphics person in the editing room, they have the background pulled up on their computer, and when it's time to put it on, the director controls when it pops up and like when they have to take it down.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So any other tips for people who might be interested in doing live announcements at their school maybe? What would you tell them?
Well, it's mostly about working together as a group because no one person can do it. Like, there's 7 of us leaders and we're still so chaotic in the morning, like we need another person to help us. So it's really nice when a new group comes in because it's like adding a new person to our group so it works more smoothly. Mm-hmm. So you need a group of people because one person by themselves couldn't do it because it would just be even more chaotic in the morning.
And we have 5 different groups of kids that are 10 to 12 each. So the leaders will be here, the 7 leaders, and then the 10 or 12 kids for that 2-week time period will come in. And so we'll have on any given day 15 to 20 kids in and doing different jobs and learning different things. So it's a great learning environment, and the 50 or 60 kids that are involved absolutely love it. And it's great that we can provide that learning for that many kids. It's a lot of fun.
Well, we do have a question that I think would be a good time to ask right now. So I'll show it right here. The question is, can all students work on morning announcements? And Mr. Reed, you briefly talked about the application process, but if we could revisit that for a moment and maybe answer how other students might be able to get involved if they have an interest.
Do one of you guys want to go ahead?
Okay. So, if you're in
7th grade.
If you're in 7th grade, you can't be one of the leaders who come in every single day, but you can sign up, and that doesn't take an application, and you can come in for 2 weeks at a time.
And who can come in? Who's allowed to be part of Studio Club?
Anybody.
What did you say? Say that again?
Anybody.
What?
Anybody.
Anybody in the whole school.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are. Anybody can be part of it. You just join in. And what's cool is you can join as a group. Like you and 3 or 4 of your friends can all join as a group together and have fun together.
Which is really helpful because sometimes you don't want to sign up by yourself because people won't think it's cool. But if you do it with your friends, it's just fun.
I know this year we have about 4 groups doing it, but I know last year we had about 6. So we just cycled through the groups. So every group will get to go on about 2 times.
2 or 3 times.
2 or 3
because
times.
we do 2 weeks per group.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it sounds like you guys do great work, and it would be an honor for any student to join this club and get more involved at Winston Campus Junior High School. So thank you all for being here. Please stay with us for a moment. We are going to transition now to talk to our STEM and Robotics Club, and we'll come back and answer some more questions about Studio Club if you have them at the end. So thanks again, guys, for being with us.
All right, thank you.
So,
Bye.
Bye. So now we're going to move over to another area of Winston Campus Junior High School. We are going to talk to our STEM Club and Robotics Club, and we're going to talk to them about what they do that's so innovative at Winston Campus. So hi, guys. You're on live with me now, so thank you for being here. We can't hear you, though, unfortunately, so we're going to have Dr. Klein run over there and help you. We're going to bring back Studio Club here for a second so that we can get them some questions and answers. Hopefully your sound will return. So Studio Club, you're back. Sorry for the brief notice about that, but we have another question that we can put up and have you answer while we fix the STEM Club's audio problem. So the question is, you guys are a building that is connected with Winston Campus Elementary School. So do you ever involve the students at the elementary level to show them the clubs that exist at Winston Campus Junior High School? Is that something that you've ever done?
We show them, and we have days where they can come in and see what Winston Campus Junior High is all about. But they have their own studio club where they do their own morning announcements. And they do that, I believe it's with Miss McCarter, who is a 6th grade teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, and also for the elementary, they have pre-recorded announcements where when they go to junior high, they can be a part of the live announcement. So it's 2 different things they get to get their hands on and do.
Yeah, and it's kind of a stepping stone. So they do the recording on the iPad with the elementary, and that's the beginning process. But then once you go to junior high, then you get the more advanced process, which is this whole production room and doing it live.
Okay, well, that's great that they get that exposure so early, and then they can hopefully continue on with you at the junior high level and maybe even beyond at Palatine High School, which would be a great segue into a possible career path. So now thank you so much for taking those questions. We'll come back to you guys again.
Jobs. It would be great if some of these kids, from what they're learning, could then jump into a job later in life, and just hopefully they get the idea that it's a lot of fun and engaging, and turn it into a job later in life.
Definitely. I think there's a lot of pathways in television production as well that maybe you don't consider. There's a lot more than just being the anchor or reporter. There's plenty of other behind the scenes jobs that are sometimes a better fit for people. So you're exposing people to all of those roles right now at Winston campus. So thank you so much for all of your work. We're going to try out our STEM club once again. So just 1 second, if we could bring them back up. We're on live television, so we know how that goes sometimes. We sometimes have some issues. So our STEM club, can you hear us? Can you say, oh, great. We can hear you as well. So thank you for being here. We're so excited to see you guys. So why don't you introduce yourselves to everyone who's watching and tell us a little bit about your club and who is with you in the room today.
I'm Mrs. Ruiz. I'm the coordinator for STEM Club.
I'm Dylan. I'm part of a team with me, Nate, Armand, and Colin, and Andre.
I'm Nate. I'm on Dylan's team as well.
I'm Cherry. I'm on the team with Malik, Natia, and Jessica and Maggie Sanchez for the Robotics and Elementary School.
Great. So you guys are all doing this voluntarily, right? This is a club activity. This is not part of your daily coursework. So what made you guys want to be part of a STEM and robotics club?
Well, I like to work with science and math because I think it's very logical subjects and I like logical things.
I joined because last year my dad suggested it to me and I didn't know about it, so I was like, okay, I guess I'll give it a shot. And I tried it out and I had a really good time last year, so I decided, I should do it this year with a team also, because last year I did the competition with Cherry, and so now I'm with Dylan and some others, and it just really it's really fun, and you get to learn a lot in this club. It's not just about teamwork. You learn how to code, build, and think just in general knowledge how you can fix and do problem solving.
I joined because, like Nate said, it was really fun, and we did a lot of things, and it was a really awesome learning experience. I thought it was really fun last year because the competition, there wasn't a lot of people, but this year there are more, so it's fun seeing all these new people that want to have the same experience. And having a team with only 3 people last year was actually pretty exciting, considering the amount of work we had to do. And even though Nick showed up a little later, he was a really good teammate, and it also helped us with teamwork and giving us different jobs and things like that. So it was really cool.
So, Mr. Ruiz, for those people who might be watching that aren't familiar with what STEM and robotics is, can you explain what the kids do as part of your club?
Do I explain to the kids what to do?
No, can you explain to our viewers what the club is?
Oh, yes. So basically, we have Vex Robotics kits here. They're in all the junior highs in the district. And what the kids do who are part of the robotics team is they are supposed to design, build, and program robots that can be controlled with remote controls. to compete in a VEX Robotics competition. So this year's competition is called In the Zone. So they have to build robots that can take cones like this and place them on, these are mobile goals, and if they build a really good robot, hopefully their robot can lift this. It's actually kind of heavy, and have to move it into different zones within the field to score points. There's also a higher goal that they have to stack cones onto. So they're building kind of their bases right now and trying those out, and then coming up with ideas for lifts to lift the cones up and down. So building prototypes, testing them, redesigning, all that stuff. A lot of problems.
For people like me who are watching and I've never built a robot before, tell me how hard it is for you guys to figure out how to make something like this and make it work well. Tell me about that.
Well, I would say this is a basic robot. It comes with like a kit and everything. And we did that last year, and it really taught us like different strategies and ways to build a different robot. And after going to the competition, we saw everybody else's ideas, and it made us think about this year how we should build our robot. Because you got to think about, like, every part of this robot has a purpose to figure out this problem, and it makes you kind of think how we should build it in a certain way or form.
So do you guys want to share what you've built so far with your robot so people can understand where you've gone with the process so far this school year?
Yeah, sure. So here, we'll get up close.
So this is our robot. This is our robot. It has 4 omnidirectional wheels. As you can see, they have like these rubber cross wheels at the bottom, and then the actual wheels go this way. So this is like the base, and this is the cortex, which controls like everything. So we have to program the robot into this. We're planning to make like a lift that consists of 6 arms. We're gonna put like stuff like these, which are like bars, so it can go up and it can stack the cones onto the tall goals.
That's awesome, guys. I'm so impressed with what you've done so far. Does this club make you think about your future and if you may want to go into a STEM career later on?
For sure. I'm planning to try to become an engineer, and I feel like it really makes me like get into that process of becoming an engineer, because we have to sketch out our ideas, especially like a GTT class in 7th grade, and we have to think about it, we have to draw it, then we come up with our plan, or we just go into it and draw our plan. If it doesn't work, we show why it didn't work in our sketchbook, and it's really like helping me think, okay, probably an engineer would do this way or that way, and for me, that's why I think it would help.
For me, I want to do some computer programming in the future. So these robots, you have to program them manually. So I think the fact that we have to program them will help me in the future, because they use Robot C, which is basically a modded version of C, and C is like covers a pretty wide variety of codes and like purposes. So I think that's why STEM Club will help me.
I am thinking of adding technology and engineering into my career, hopefully, because I really understand that now not a lot of kids my age or like gender roles like females have jobs or careers in coding or engineering. So I think it's really cool and important that so many students want to be a part of this, which makes me want to be a part of it in my future even more. So yeah, I would think that I would want to make this somewhere.
Well, that's great. And I have a question for Mr. Ruiz. How have you seen the students grow during their time with you in this club? Does it really have a big impact on them in other academic areas as well?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I don't have all of them in class as students, so it's kind of fun to get some kids that I don't normally get to interact with as much. But I do see their excitement over it. I see the collaboration, the communication skills that they develop, talking about the designs, the problem solving skills I think is huge. Like in my class, I say, I don't care if your robot isn't perfect, but I want you guys to become good problem solvers. So seeing those conversations they have is really fun to overhear, and watching their excitement when their robot works and does what it's supposed to do is pretty exciting.
Great. So this is the time in our broadcast now that we are going to start taking questions from our Facebook audience. So if you have any questions for either group, the Studio Club or the STEM Robotics Club, now is your time to enter them in. We are going to bring the Studio Club back into our live broadcast so we can have all of us on the screen at the same time. And we will begin to take some more questions. So hi guys, you're all live now. We've got Studio Club, we've got STEM Club, and we're here at the Educational Service Center as well. So we have a question that's been asked to the Studio Club, but not the STEM Club, is how do students get involved in Studio Club and STEM Club? We've heard from the Studio Group about this, but in terms of STEM and robotics, if you have an interest and you're a student at Winston Campus Junior High School, how would you get involved in this organization?
So at the beginning of the year in September usually is when we start our meetings, and I put something in the announcements. Dr. Klein was nice to put a video of the competition from last year in the student update so that students could see what we do in here and kind of get a real idea of what STEM Club is and what the robotics team is. So we put all the word out there, and then students were just supposed to come at the very beginning if they were interested. STEM Club as a club is open all year long, but if they wanted to join the competition team, we did start those earlier in the year because we had to register for our competition. But students can come. They're Tuesdays after school in the STEM lab here at Winston, and it's open for any students to come anytime.
I think I want to join that club.
I would like to join all of these clubs, honestly. We didn't have this kind of thing when I was in school, so it's so great to see how District 15 is offering these opportunities to students. So we have a question for Mr. Reed. So We'll bring Mr. Reed up here. How did Mr. Reed learn about live TV production?
The live TV portion of it was me watching Mr. Maggio back in the day, running his whole live production and just overseeing it for almost a full year. And then once he retired, I had my feet wet a little bit and I could jump right in.
Well, great. That's nice that you had a mentor to learn from. That's always the best way to learn something, I think.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
That's good. And this next question might be a question for Dr. Klein or the teachers. Is there any involvement or support by local businesses in either of the clubs, whether that's financial or mentoring? So do you bring in any
Dr.
partners?
Klein just walked back in here.
Does Dr. Klein want to get that one? All right.
Sure, I'll jump in on that one. For these clubs right now, we're able to do these with our existing resources, but we have had examples of other clubs in the past, like Capital One Coders Club last year, where there was outside support, and there are certainly always places, and both of these would be key places, where we're really looking at the kinds of partnerships that can allow our students and our staff members to have additional experiences. We want the work we do to be as authentic as possible. What Studio Club's doing every day is completely authentic because they're really creating video announcements, the news essentially for us here, for 1,000 people nearly every day. And what the STEM Club and the robotics team is doing is really important play and competition towards those goals, and the things they learn, they'll be able to apply directly to those things. And if we can expand those with connections within our community, we would love those opportunities. So just reach out to us. We're here, happy to talk and engage.
That's wonderful to hear. So if anyone got that on the live cast, if you have experience in some of these areas, you might be a community member, business person that could offer some mentoring or expertise to our students, please reach out to us and we'd be happy to connect you. I see that Mr. DaCosta has entered the picture. Am I right about that? Maybe we'd like to have Mr. DaCosta say a few words about STEM Club at Winston Campus Junior High School. He's very tall, so he's going to have to crouch down a little bit to be seen. So, Mr. DaCosta, tell us about your time at Winston Campus Junior High being involved in these after-school clubs. What's it been like for you?
Well, so one of the things that we've really tried to do this year is get every kid involved in at least one activity outside of the curricular time. So we've been really pushing all kids to be involved. STEM Club, we've seen a great turnout for. As someone that has a STEM background before going into teaching, it's really amazing some of the work that I've seen here at STEM Club, as well as in our GTT Project Lead the Way courses. So it's really exciting to see our 12, 13, and 14-year-olds be involved in such high-level work.
That's great. I think it's so important to get involved, especially at the junior high level when you're just figuring out your interests and what you might want to do later on. So I think that's wonderful to hear. We don't have any more questions, but we have a comment that I would like to share on the screen now that I think applies to all of you. We have a viewer here that said, so proud of all the kids. And I think that could go for all of us at the ESC and all of our teachers and staff members at Winston campus. We are all so proud of you and all that you do every day. So thank you guys for being with me today. I very much appreciate your contribution to our Facebook Live show. You did a wonderful job. So thank you all for being here. We'll see you guys soon. So
Thank you. Get Winspired. Get Winspired. Get Winspired.
So if you didn't catch that, they were saying get Winspired. So hashtag Winspired is the Winston Campus Junior High School hashtag this year. So if you're on Twitter, you'd like to follow them, just type that in. I will put that up on the screen right now so you can see it. Follow along. You'll be able to catch Winston Campus Junior High on Twitter and Facebook. So thank you all for being here. Our live broadcast about innovative clubs going on at Winston Campus Junior High School. We are very appreciative to all of you who chose to comment and participate. We hope that this will always be a two-way conversation between the district and our stakeholders. So we'll be advertising our next District 15 live chat after the Thanksgiving holiday, and we hope you'll stay tuned with us and you'll keep watching. So everyone have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.